It's long, it's big. You know what it is? Knowledge. I'm gonna try to beat Elden Ring while only leveling mine. There's gonna be some set of rules I made for this run. First one is mine only. The only stats I'm allowed to level up is mine, no other stats. Second, I'm gonna use the spells most of the time, but one spell is only allowed for one main boss. But outside of fighting main boss, I'm allowed to use anything including the spells I used previously. This is one of those runs where I struggle a lot, but I hope you find this entertaining despite the agony I experienced when recording this. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into it, shall we? Since I'm gonna play with magic this time, you think I'm gonna pick either astrologer or prophet class, but I'm picking hero. They have the lowest mind and intelligence out of everyone. This is why a big brain doesn't always mean it has something valuable inside. Now, the reason I choose the lowest stats is actually for gatekeeping myself to use all the good spells, so I don't trivial the run. I have an axe as my starting weapon, but what I need to do right now is gathering as many intelligence as I can by acquiring some items that boost intelligence without leveling up. Olivinus Crown, Marika's Scar Seal. They both give 3 points on intelligence and also the intelligence not crystal tier that gives you 10 intelligence for 3 minutes. I also need to get some spells as well alongside with sorcery staffs. I don't have any talisman slots available for now, so I couldn't add more damage boost with the Graven School talisman, but this will help me for sure after beating Morgott. Crystal Barrage, a submachine gun kind of spell. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough stats to use it, so I have to handicap it with the crystal tier, which then I realized this spell is not that bad. But 3 minutes isn't enough to kill Morgott, so I have to replace the spell with a regular glintstone pebble. I try to use all the bad spells at early game and save the good ones for the end game, but I don't have many choices to begin with, and pebble is quite good for a spell. The fancy thing about magic user is you can literally spam casting in distance and Morgott barely do anything to dodge them. I still have to maintain my range and timing since my recovery time wasn't the fastest and Morgott wasn't slow either. I didn't really use any specific opening for this one because creating some range has more benefit than waiting for my turn to attack. Damage was pretty decent and I was feeling optimistic that I can beat him under 3 minutes before the physics worn out. By the way, I use Meteorite Staff and haven't reached its requirement as well, so consuming physics is a must. This is my second chance to use the Crystal Barrage, and holy damn, I almost made it.
Scheiße, es geht wieder los.
Let's be real for a moment. It's still not enough and I have to replace it with the Glintstone Stars. I never used this spell before, and I was surprised by how good it is. The homing projectiles definitely helps and it has longer range than the Pebble. I played using the same style as Morgott, but because Godrick is slower, it makes the fight much easier for me to shoot from distance. This spell has slower casting time and recovery time, but it doesn't impact me in any way. And the slow velocity of the stars complement the homing aspect of the spell as well. Even on second phase, I can still cast in peace without having to worry about his reach as long as it's not one of his fire attacks. Everything went smoothly until the crystal tier effect ran out. Well, I guess I have to find another replacement for now. I went to Whipping Peninsula and get the Demi-Human Queen staff that has lower requirement but good scaling for future endeavors. Godrick is no more. And I am now at level 27 with 29 mind. Our goal is of course 99 mind at the end of the game. After defeating Godrick, we unlock his Great Rune on the top of the Divine Tower. This is the best Great Rune in the game that gives you plus 5 points on all attributes. With this, I almost reached 20 intelligence. Almost. But I cannot waste any rune arcs for now, since they're quite limited throughout the game. I'll try to use as many accessible items I could get. There is a good replacement for my Burger King headgear that gives you 6 intelligence points instead of 3, but in order to get it I have to beat Red Wolf first. I cannot waste any more good sorceries, so I have to go with some incantations. Catch Flame from Brother Corin, combined with a regular Finger Seal. I think those are good enough to beat Red Wolf. Catch Flame works like a melee weapon. What I mean by this is just how short the range of that snapping fire. Even though I died a lot, but I learned a lot of his movesets as well at the end. Rolling forward is the key to dodge most of his attacks, and also I was able to land 2 hits after his sword attack. It's not a perfect fight, and those Green Blade could catch me off guard sometimes, but thanks to the flame that deals good damage, I was able to kill him. Alright, so I get Radagon's icon for faster casting speed, which I'm probably not gonna use. The Twin Sage Crown that I already mentioned earlier. Shattering Crystal and Azure Staff that requires high intelligence, so I'm probably not gonna use them. 52 is just too high, man, even with the Great Rune and Crystal tier. Maybe I'll find a way and see if I get the chance to use them in the future. But for now, let's go for the second shard bearer, which is Radahn. Yes, I pick him since Renala has high magic resistance. My spell of choice is the Glintstone Arc that has wide range projectiles. This is very helpful in fights like this since Radahn likes to move around in medium pace. The damage was a bit low, but casting speed is alright for me to cast more than once on one of his openings. This is also pretty effective to cast on horseback, especially after he finishes an action. But all of this opportunity I mentioned only applies on his first phase without magic. As soon as he starts using magic, there will be slight changes on the openings. Gravity Pull. I'm very aware of that specific moves because it's also an opening for me when I could land 2 hits. I'm relying Torrent a lot during this phase just so I can avoid the gravity wave and those floating balls. But casting while riding is not recommended, I would say, because the gravity pull might happen out of nowhere and I didn't get a chance to get off at the right time. I guess one big opening on second phase when he pulls out those giant rocks from the ground. I can shoot up to 4 times, but I couldn't get too close or the gravity would eat me up. I made up with Celine and gave her some scrolls I found to learn some new sorceries. I picked Celine because Tops isn't smart enough to take the scrolls apparently.
So I'm afraid I can't help you decipher the scroll.
My next objective is to get some stuffs from Salafis. As I said before, I tried to not waste any sorceries on bosses like this, so I tried to grab some available incantations. To boost my faith, I got 2-finger heirloom that gives me 5 points on faith. I'm gonna use Flame Sling for Brother Corin to fight Loretta. This spell worked really well against her surprisingly, but I still have to throw it on her openings or else she'll dodge them. Okay, so paid Rani a visit as always, and finally conducted some business with Salafis. Played along with his nefarious plan against Rani until he gave me the Magic Scorpion Charm. This will give me more power to my spells. After that, we can kill him along with Pedia to get the bell bearings. By doing this, also allows me to get the Stargazer Heirloom to boost my intelligence. For the next boss, I already have something useful in mind. I made up with Tops again to get the Haima spells from the tower. I could only reach 21 intelligence, so from this point forward, I'll have to activate Great Rune to use advanced spells. But before using these spells, I want to try the Crystal Burst just in case it works against the Tree Sentinel. Well, I guess I know why people doesn't like this spell. Alright then, it's time for Cannon of Haima to finish the job. Since the spell takes a good minute to cast, I think using the hit and run method might be the best way to utilize it. Basically, all we have to do is shoot at him and then run away. This surely takes some time because not only I have to run away quite far to the Spirit Spring, but I also have to be aware of his lightning strike that happen at random times. But with a little bit of patience, it can be done 100%. I've done this method with various spells and it worked 100%, as long as I have enough FP. And also, if I was able to dodge like every attacks. Another Haima spells is the Gaffle of Haima, which is my favorite, and I'm gonna use it for my favorite boss fight, Godfrey. I actually died a few times in this fight, because adjusting the timing between me and him are quite rough. But to put it simply, my only opening is when he slams the eggs to the ground and 360 spin it before landing another one. That's my only chance to hammer him. Also, not to mention this spell has slower recovery time, but with a bit of extra shockwave though. It's not that slow, but he could catch me off guard sometimes. I was so conscious about it. At the end, I would say it's not really a big deal and the challenge was still doable to this point. This fight was still a decent one. Speaking about a decent one, Morgott actually brought a better fight. Using glintstone ice strike from Cellophase and Snow Witch Hat to boost the cold sorceries. This time, I'll be implementing the same strats as Morgott before, by making distance and shoot. However, I cannot randomly shoot whenever I want since Morgott will dodge them most of the time. I have to cast when he does the slow winded attack. Usually, some of his slow moves are quite dangerous for me, but since he'll take some time to reach me, I can safely spam a couple shots before he does anything. Casting speed might be decent, but I believe Morgott was faster when it comes to counter attack. Ice Strike deals good damage and inflicting frostbite happen quite frequently. I think I pick a perfect spell for Morgott. Consuming those crystal tears on second phase so I could end this fight quickly. Nothing different here. He adds some new moves involving Blood Flame, but they only turn into another openings in my eyes. I wish I could land more hits on the Blood Flame, but it was too risky, so I'll keep it safe. Might be the easiest fight so far. I beat him first try. We now have 61 mine on level 59. Let's keep going. So at this part of the game, everything will be significantly tougher, so I have to power up in a unique way outside of leveling up, since it's not gonna change anything outside of mana pool obviously. It's a bit tempting to me to level up my intelligence just a bit, because there are a bunch of good spells I wanna try. Yeah, probably some other time. I found some carian melee spells that I never used before, but they require Great Rune to be able to use them, and I picked either carian greatsword or carian piercer for fire giant. I only have limited amount of rune arcs and I died like a couple times already. This makes me anxious because the weight of losing rune arcs is quite significant as I still need them for the rest of the game. But I'm glad I picked the carian greatsword for this fight. Casting speed is okay for a melee spell and the damage is pretty good. This is probably because I have the carian glintstone staff on my left hand. Dodging his attacks isn't a problem at all since he's very slow and I could land multiple hits on the single opening, making his first phase went by very fast. If the timing was on point, on second phase, he will do the elbow slam instead of the eruption. That allows me to attack his head and deal more damage than other body parts, and possibly break his poise. Second phase took less time than usual and the rest of the fight, I'm doing the usual thing by camping underneath his crotch. I saved some good spells for this specific fight and I think the Great Glintstone Shard is the best one for this. It deals a decent damage, it travels in quite long distance, and I don't even need to activate the Great Rune to use it. But I still get my ass whooped hundreds of times. I blame their bullshitness. It was never my fault. There is no stress on Godskin Duo. What I do is just keep shooting and running because, you know, the fight one is pretty fast and just when he is about to catch me up, I'm gonna shoot him once before sprinting away. One thing that killed me a lot is actually from the skinny one. He throws fireball right at my blind spot, and it can be difficult to keep track on what he's cooking at the moment. This spell is strong enough to break their stance and usually I could break it right before he enters second phase to cancel the donut roll. Alright, so that's a good way to prevent the donut roll. Another thing I did is to keep both of them close to each other. I'm serious about this. Since I said earlier about the skinny one looking towards my blind spot, this will minimize my misfortune a little bit. Yeah, this happens sometimes. That's why I have to be on top of the pillars when he starts the roll. To be specific, it has to be the middle pillars. He won't be able to bypass this one. There goes one of the most difficult fight, and I'm down to fight Maliketh right away. I'm using Rock Sling, thinking the fight will as easy as always. But what I didn't know at the time, this is the hardest Maliketh fight I've ever done. I mean, Rock Sling is a good spell, but apparently there are some bosses like him that wasn't suitable for the spell. Or maybe it's just my skill issue, that will be fixed after my next couple attempts. I'll tell you what, this is like gambling. I can only cast a spell when he's casually walking towards me. I don't know exactly when and for how long he's gonna do that, so I'm just gonna stay away as far as I could before shooting. Not to mention Roxling's casting and recovery time was slow as fuck, man. But this is what I'm doing on his first phase. Actually, a small, almost unnoticeable opening after he did the Beast Claw or whatever that move called. But I can only do this if I was quite far from him. Second phase is definitely easier since I just have to trigger the Destined Death and casually cast. Roxling doesn't really deal much damage, so it's gonna be an endurance fight. This spell is supposed to destroy his stance, but it only happened once since he didn't do the Destined Death all the time. And that made him refill his poise health. I think, probably. I don't quite know how the poise things works, to be honest. But anyway, I beat him after that long ass fight, and for the next fight, I was preparing something big. Alright, so the maximum intelligence I have is 21. This was before adding Great Rune and Crystal Knot. I only have a few rune arcs left, and I intend to use only one for Gideon. So I prepared the following stuffs: Mimic Tear, Great Oracular Bubble, Terra Magica. I won't be able to kill Gideon fast enough before he starts engaging, that's why I use Mimic Tear to cover my slow ass. But this is a massive flop, as I forgot Mimic Tear consumes HP, not FP, and I don't have enough HP, bro. So I made another plan. This time I'm adding Radagon Sword Seal so I can use a Mimic Tear and Marika's Scar Seal at the same time. This will definitely kill me after one hit and will affect my Mimic Tear as well. But I'll reinforce the drawbacks with Carian Retaliation infused to shield that I got from Moondrum. The Mimic Tear is only for Gideon's punching back while I'm creating some distance with him. The Great Bubble is a really good spell with slow casting time, so I have to buy some time before casting it. The slow bubble was very beneficial on NPC fights like this, and it is a guarantee hit on every shot. Well, not 100% guarantee, but like 80% because he can still dodge or run towards me sometimes. We're closer to the end of the game. And for Godfrey, I used the Swift Glintstone shard that deals almost no damage at all. But I like this spell because it's fast AF, allowing me to create my own opening and has more room to dodge him. Since I can only deal minimum damage on him, I have to endure the long fight and avoiding his attacks. The benefit of this spell, it has a jump attack that's very useful when Godfrey does the storm attack. I'll try to shoot as many as I can. It's more of a quantity over quality kind of thing with that amount of damage. Creating distance is definitely a better method, but this spell has shorter travel distance compared to other glintstone spells, so I'll have to keep it short to medium range only. Except in second phase, I have to constantly running and making as much distance with him because he's dangerous. The only time I was able to shoot is when he tried to grab me. And maybe the ground slam as well, but surely this is gonna take a while and I have to maintain my stamina as well if I have to run and shoot at the same time. I could sneak in some damage on certain occasions, but it's not preferable. We're getting there. We will hit 99 mines soon. So I think it's best to use my new favorite spell on the last boss, the Carian Slicer. Not only that, I'm aware of Elden Stars, so I'm getting the Crimson Hole tier as well. With only 15 intelligence requirement, this spell is honestly amazing. I didn't know this exists before, but Carian Slicer is super fast upon casting, and even for the follow-up attack combo, I barely see any gap between combos. Radagon's slow attacks are definitely an invite for me to do multiple hits. Even on regular attacks with follow-ups, I can still sneak in some hits. I try to utilize counter attacks from rolling because it's the fastest way to cast. Sprint attack also has the same casting speed, which is nice. As good as this seems, but this fight took me almost 3 hours to beat. Radagon was easy, but Elden Beast beat my ass and tickled my butthole a lot. I didn't know why I did a lot, and I blame my personal bad luck, or maybe it's just my skill issue, which is most probably the case. Elden Beast has more magic resistance, that's why I couldn't deal as much damage as with Radagon. Dodging his melee attacks is very easy, but I learned from my mistake to keep my range not too close to him, so I can see what he's about to do. I read a lot from the golden explosions and golden wave, so I should find a way to avoid those. Elden stars wouldn't be a problem this time. Crimson Whirl will absorb every incoming stars, and I can just mind my own business peacefully. My main issue here is my stamina. Since I couldn't level it up, it became very tiring in fights like this where running and striking involve at the same time. But I did it at the end. And if you notice, my voice right now sounds a bit tired because I'm portraying how I feel at the moment. And with that, we reach 99 mine. Yahoo! After this, I plan to take down some of the Remembrance bosses as I still have some rune arcs left. I used the Stone Digger spells for Niall and it was a terrible idea. So I changed the spells with Magma Shot from the Volcano Manor quest. I got some other items as well that might be useful for the journey in Erdtree. Alright, so I believe because this runs solely relying on long range weapon, I suspect the Magma Shot will definitely work better than Rock Blaster. The only problem I have is with the Banished Knights. If I can kill both of them with Rock Blaster, I definitely beat Niall as well. Magma Shot works really well on long range and it doesn't take much time to cast as well. I beat both knights by luring them into charging towards me while the magma staggered them upon hit. Niall over here apparently only have one specific combo for the entire fight. Maybe he's tired, just like me. He gave up on life. I fought Loretta before with Flame Sling, a throwing fireball. Second encounter with her, since she's already powered up with some new moves. I'm also using the upgraded Flame Sling, the Black Flame. Of course I don't have enough stats to use this spell, so I'm using another Rune Arc and hoping I only use one this time. Well, it's a bit harder it seems. Same strats as before. The good opening is when she is about to cast those Glint Blades, but I think I found another good one on her melee attacks. The jump attack allows me to stand behind her and hit her. This works most of the time, but sometimes she had faster reaction time that makes me a bit anxious. Only took me 1 death in this fight. So I used 2 rune arcs in total. It's still a waste. I think I could replace Marika's Scar Seal with Marika's Sword Seal, but it only added 2 points to my intelligence and faith. And it's not enough to use Carian Piercer without activating the Great Rune. I'm getting some other stuffs like the Night Shards. That's gonna be my main weapon to fight Malenia. Looks like I only have 1 rune arc left, and I believe you guys already expect this to be a huge flop. Well, I guess maybe it's one of those times where I couldn't beat the boss. Oh, haha, you think I'm gonna give up, huh? Fuck that, bro. There are some available rune arcs left, and I'm gonna find every single one of them until I beat this asshole. Okay, that's the last rune arc. Fingers crossed. Maybe I shouldn't use Great Rune at all. I didn't keep count on how many deaths I had, but this is my 3rd and last day fighting Malenia. I'm using Night Shards and Loretta's Great Bow. I scrapped the Carian Piercer since it's not effective against her. As you can see, the damage from the Night Shard is really awful, but I still have to praise this spell for being undodgeable by her. However, I couldn't spam it because apparently she's still able to dodge it after a couple hits. I guess to keep the fight balanced, or else it's gonna be too easy. Night Shard is as fast as the swift glintstone spell, so it's very beneficial on this current situation. Dodging her attacks is quite easy since I'm on light roll. I have to keep this distance and shoot her 1 at a time, not too fast, but not too slow. If I shoot her after a long break, for example, she'll turn aggressive, which can be beneficial on certain circumstances, like to prevent her from doing the waterfowl dance. But it's not guaranteed. It took me around 4 flashes to kill her on her first phase. This was supported by having 99 mind, man. Imagine if I have less. It won't be enough to beat her. Second phase, drink the physics right away so I can use Loretta's Great Bow. This can only be done once, since the crystal tier will run out after 3 minutes, and the fight will be going after 3 minutes for sure. From this point on, I'll take advantage on her fake jumping and spam the shard as many as I can. It's a bit different from the first phase as she's becoming more aggressive most of the time. I have to find a way to shoot her outside her openings. Making distance is one thing, but I have to be careful because she can charge towards me real fast and I get caught off guard with it before. Another thing, her Kage Bunshin is annoying as hell, dude. This can only be dodged if I was a bit far from her, therefore, running away is a better option than just trying to dodge every single clone. I think for a single fight, it took me around 10 to 15 minutes to beat her, and I'm glad this is the last one because I couldn't take it anymore. Alright, next, maybe using Spiral Shard on Morg? Yeah, fuck that. I don't have any rune arcs left. I don't care. I'm tired. Malenia is all you get. On serious note, I hope you're having fun watching this run. Maybe one of the hardest and painful one at the end game. And maybe I'm gonna do this again in the future. I don't know. But yeah, special thanks to channel members. Love you guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.